Connected to effective time management is learning how to automate and think in systems. This is something that a lot of small businesses may not think about because of the passion that they're entering into their business with. And certainly in nonprofits, it's not something that's readily talked about as much. We are a little bit behind when it comes to tech and systems. There are tons of assumptions we can add as to why that's the case, whether it's personal moral thoughts about whether we should automate things versus doing it manually, the perception that I don't have the workload that demands automation, the cost. Most nonprofits and small businesses, and in my videos, nonprofits and small businesses have a lot in common, so we're going to use that interchangeably. But a lot of small businesses and nonprofits do not have IT people, technical people on staff. They don't have HR people on staff. They don't have quality assurance people on staff. And so these back office positions, which are important and critical to running an effective business, leading an effective project, they are highly deficient in organizations like nonprofits and small businesses. And so it can become very difficult to sell to them the idea of automation and technology and why we should do this stuff. So I'm still going to introduce to you in this particular segment the importance of automation and systems thinking, understanding that it may be a difficult push for some of you, but it doesn't change the fact that it can help you with time management. It can help you with the overall thought of how to lead for small teams. And again, the whole concept of what we're talking about is systems thinking, systems leadership for small teams. So let's start here. Got a couple thoughts to share around automation and systems thinking. You want to identify repetitive tasks that you do every single day without fail. Now, there may be a variety of things that pop up for you, whether it's responding to emails and customer inquiries where people are asking the same questions every day, right? So, different person, different email address, same question. And let me give this example because maybe this will help as well. I was working in public housing in earlier in my career, and there were repetitive tasks that we had to do, whether it was rent collection and there's subcategories of that where you're processing the rent, logging the rent, collecting the rent, giving receipts, etc. That is at that time, something that we did not, it wasn't as electronic then. So with that being said, I'm not going to go through that example because these days things are more automated. However, I will give some other examples that speaks to things that still may be relevant today, such as every year our tenants have the option to renew their lease, and we do want to keep our vacancies down. So we have to go through a recertification process to recertify a person's eligibility to remain in the public housing system. So we have to push the button for recertification. We have to run background checks. We have to run income checks. We have to have the person come in, review the report, sign the lease, etc. I'm going to make an assumption that a lot of that stuff could be done from a mobile device and folks don't have to come to the office. However, we do have to look into the system and initiate the process, right? And initiate the search, the background search, the verifications, etc. Because not everybody will stay another year. Some folks may decide that they have reached some of their financial goals and it's time to move out of affordable housing into another place. So we will have to take those folks out of the system. Regardless of what they decide to do, that is a repetitive thing because if you have a large facility, I was working at a large one that had 500 units, you can at any given time have dozens of people going through that cycle either on a daily or weekly basis, perhaps monthly basis. But I'm going to go with weekly for this example. And because you have dozens of people going through that process on a weekly basis, One of the things I knew and learned that we couldn't do was wait to the last minute, let's say the day before the lease is about to be terminated, to start the process. Because at that time, FBI checks took 10 days to process and get back to us. And that was the longest part of the process. In some cases, income verification took 10 days. And that was the longest part of the process. And so if you waited a day before the lease terminated and tried to run that FBI check, you put that client, that tenant, and their family at risk. And of course, you're underperforming because if they somehow are removed from the unit, which is your fault, then your vacancy rates go up, revenue goes down, and you displace a family, and it creates other issues because you didn't do your job. So now, for me, I used to run these systems 30, sometimes 45 days early to get the process started, particularly if I knew that most of my clients wanted to remain in the unit. Very few wanted to exit at any given time. So you push the button and you begin to go through that process. And now you start to build a rhythm. When you have daily things like that, it would be helpful if you can automate as much as possible. Now, you may not be able to automate everything, but with that example that I'm giving where you have to run automations, or I'm suggesting automations around some of the work. Automations is not just something that's running in the background with AI. That is an option, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But go back to what we talked about in the previous segment about block scheduling. Can you block your schedule 2 days a week to systematize that part of your work where you're processing applications, where you're processing inquiries, where you're processing emails, where you're processing responses, where you're processing outputs? Go back to the example I talked about with the RFP. Again, automation in part includes technology. It also in part includes your ability to organize when something gets done. Now, for those of you that have email challenges in your general inbox and you're getting repetitive responses, one of the things you can do to automate something like that is to either have a special inbox for any specific category in your business. And when folks send a response, you can set up an autoresponder that generally provides what I would deem a really good email, detailed email of how that person can have their needs met, links where they can access all types of things, where they can who they can contact, and how to take advantage of any services that they are in pursuit of. Another strategy could be you have one inbox, but you use a platform like Zapier, which leverages systems and automations and connections between one system and another, that looks for keywords in your email inbox, marks the email as read, drafts a response if a particular keyword is identified, such as interview, such as consultation, such as meeting with. And it can draft a response that says, hey, thanks for your email. We would love to connect with you. If you would love to meet with one of our team members, please click this link below and it'll take you to Calendly, for example, which is a platform I use, and it can draft that email. In some cases, it can send that email for you, therefore taking it off of your plate. The email is marked read. The customer got a response. If they choose to meet with you because they used a buzzword in their email message to you, they've been sent the directions on how to meet with you. Following that example, if you use a platform like Calendly, they too have automations. So when someone schedules a meeting with you, you can set up automations where you can send an automatic email and text message to that person immediately after they schedule with directions or information. In some cases, you can send a welcome message, a hi, how are you doing message. Calendly has automations that says days before the event or days before the meeting, you're sending confirmations, you're sending automatic text messages, and you're not doing a thing. The system does it because it's wired to automate what you would have done manually. If you follow the example that I gave in public housing, whether you are automating a schedule to perform a task that does require your involvement, and you're allowing yourself dedicated time, block scheduled time to do a thing, and you're systematizing your work, you de-stress about last minute activities, because the more you're in the flow of doing a thing in a systems way, the more you're going to be consistent in getting outcomes and quicker in identifying outliers that stand out like a sore thumb. Similarly, on the email side and the calendar scheduling side, when you have automated systems that are performing tasks for you that would normally require you to write the same email over and over again, or at best, paste the same email and hit the send button. But now there's an automation that does this for you. And there's an automation that does confirmations, introductory emails, reminder text messages on your calendar management side. You're not sitting at the computer doing the mundane work of responding, even though it's a necessary thing that has to get done. You can't avoid it. It's part of the business operations for your organization or your business. That stuff has now been automated, and it changes things because you can be freed up to do more systems thinking and strategy, as we talked about in our opening segment. You can spend more time strategizing about what's coming next and how to improve systems and networks and relationships and outcomes, because the basics of what you need to get done is now automated. It is a powerful thing that you can turn on in your business. Something else that I have been working on is our system called Impact Bud. It is a system that allows you to interface with a smart AI agent and to get responses that you need. We have Impact Bud embedded on our website at elipatrick.com. You scroll down, you can have a conversation with Impact Bud, and in essence, get a free consultation on anything related to nonprofits, from strategy, fundraising, grant writing, leadership development. Type it in. There's a response that we've prepared for you to help you think about solutions that can help your organization or even help you specifically. These days, with that particular system available, do you still need to schedule a free consultation with me or my team members? Or you can interact with Impact Bud and get just as good of advice automatic, because it's fed information that I have taught over the years, books I've written, uh, articles I've published. The books you see here on the side, some of them are in there in Impact Bud, and so some of my thinking is here. Some of my YouTube videos and my trainings and my talks, it's all there because I've needed to automate giving feedback, a good feedback, quality feedback to those who are curious, people who want to learn but don't really want to do business with me because they may not have the budget for it, or they've seen me somewhere on social media, or heard me give a talk somewhere at an event or conference, or they experienced me at their organization leading and facilitating a meeting, developing strategic plans, and they just want to learn more. We can automate that stuff. And you don't have to wait to get on the phone with me and schedule a consultation, see when I'm available. Sometimes I'm weeks and months booked out. You can get what you need right then and there, right? So automating things helps the customer just as much as it helps you. We're utilizing other automated systems within Impact Bud to serve as a CRM as well, right? So you can recall customer information. Customers through our Impact Bud system can enroll in your program. You can get alerts and automations and responses of what's happening in the system, and then take care of the customer and navigate them through your system of activity. Listen, automation can change everything. And in situations like we're talking about where Impact Bud can help, the reason why we've developed it, the reason why we're continuing to develop it for ourselves and for our customers, is to improve the outcome that you're looking to achieve for your customer. And in many cases, particularly for small businesses and nonprofits, it's improving the customer experience. It's improving the customer product. It's improving the engagement with the customer, giving them the best experience possible so that they can feel as a part of the family. I mean, that's kind of how nonprofits and small businesses think. We want you to feel comfortable. We want you to feel like you've been served. And it's hard to serve your customers well when you are distracted doing the little things that are necessary but are a distraction from your business. So, building systems, Building automations is not optional, it's necessary. It's important for the long term sustainability of your organization, your team, and your sanity. Systems will allow you to think, create, and lead on a regular basis instead of chasing the next thing on your to do list. So start to think about things in systems, start to think about automations, think about time management, block scheduling, think about deep work. All this stuff starts to come together because even though your team is small, it doesn't mean your output has to be small. You can still have major output with a small team and not have to grow your team if you use the right systems. And of course, the right partners and colleagues and subcontractors. Putting all this together can have a dynamic impact on your business and make a significant difference in your ability to accomplish the things that you're looking to accomplish.